Hello, everyone. I'm Ollie from Delta Cryptid Productions, and I'm here to talk about some more Black Clover. Last week, before we get started, I wasn't able to make one of these because I was not in the country. I took a small family trip to Cuba to see relatives that I haven't really otherwise seen or met, and I had a good old time. Fortunately, there's limited to no internet connection and access there, so I just figured not going to make a video that week, and we're going to make up for it this week. So, today we're going to do Black Clover Chapter 211, The Final Blow. So in this chapter, we see Asta and Yuno jumping in to cut down the devil with their final attacks, hopefully taking him down for good. Asta seems to be at his limit as he's having a hard time even keeping his demon form up, and he's trying to push forward. Luckily, with a little bit of negging from his best friend, he manages to find enough willpower to, keep trucking on for just a few more minutes, a few more seconds, and they perform a little pincer attack against the word devil and manage to slice him. So he just hit him. But that's literally all it is. They just hit him. They didn't really seem to do too much damage as Asta's demon form seemed to collapse away at the final moment, saving the devil from destruction in that moment. The devil goes on to, do the thing he always does and gloat and remark on their worthlessness and how he's superior and unkillable and all of that, bull crap. And then we see Yami down farther within the castle doing his whole 2-chapter Kamehameha charge up as he's preparing to contribute to the fight against the devil. And he unleashes a mana zone empowered darkness attack that seems to slice the demon right in half as he's monologuing about how everyone else is worthless and he's not going to be able to, to be beaten. And the Yami's attack cuts him right down the middle, just bisects him. And it seems to do that to literally all existence in front of him as he cuts through what seems to be this castle dimension that they're, stuck in at the moment. And this is pretty great too, as the demon starts to kind of freak out about this. Being cut in half is unpleasant, and he's having a hard time focusing and holding himself together as he's literally about to fall apart. During this time, actually before moving on, I just want to say I really love this whole scene with Yami actually, chipping in and doing massive damage just with his regular magic and his regular, well, not regular, his magic's pretty cool, but with his abilities that are, trained and honed and not just plot convenient. Not to say that Asta and Yuno's powers are insignificant through their convenience. Like, they are the protagonists. Of course, their powers are going to be a little more, fit to the situation in a way that only protagonists get. Such as with Asta having his anti-magic ability that is seemingly a trump card in most situations. This is one of the things that I like most about Black Clover is that even with that, he's not altogether the superior, the one who's gonna outright win any confrontation. For example, with Yami himself, even without his magic, Yami is a incredible swordsman and far more physically competitive, imposing than Asta, and would be able to beat Asta in a head-to-head fight. Not accounting for any demonic transformations or what have you, but just in a muscle to muscle, sword to sword kind of fight, I would put my money on Yami. And the fact that Asta's anti-magic powers are limited in what they can do against Yami, I think that's a great setup for a protagonist power where it's clear that this puts him above the majority. Just having this ability alone, this unique trait, this quirk, makes them a little bit better than the rabble, but doesn't mean that that's enough to compete with the more experienced, more seasoned longer lasting characters who have built up their standing in the world. Same with with his whole just being loved by Mana or whatever it is, and his spirit that goes around with him. Like, he is genuinely blessed and privileged and lucky. But he too would not be able to compete with some of the higher end enemies that they're facing. For example, the devil they're fighting right now isn't affected by his wind magic. No matter how much energy he has, it's not helping. It's just allowing him to stay in the battle. And that's not to say that, any of these things are weak or bad. I'm just saying that the fact that they have these, that they aren't all powerful, they don't have the ability to just overcome any obstacle, any hurdle, I think that's pretty fucking fantastic. Uh, Including the fact that Asta being at his limit and then getting a little bit of, a pep talk, I suppose, from and doing one final charge and then just not being able to do it. Like, it's just not enough sometimes. That was pretty great. In most anime and manga, determination is enough to just get you through the day no matter what's going on, and that's just not really realistic in any meaningful way. It helps, but it's not enough. And to see him, try his best to still just not physically have the capabilities is kind of great. Luckily for him, though, and everyone, I suppose, while being distracted by, being bisected, Sekri uses that time to seal away Asta's wounds with her sealing healing magic, which is just, I've said it before, the coolest thing. And with his wounds sealed up, distracts the demon or the devil for just a few more seconds, allowing him to well up the power and focus up his abilities and use his Super Saiyan 2 level demonic form, basically. A lot of Dragon Ball Z references in this one. Haven't actually watched in years. See? What was I saying? So yes, gave him the opportunity to condense his power and focus himself and activate his demonic form, and then he just rushed in for a final attack. And this is where the chapter ends. It's a pretty brief chapter, really, compared to some of the more recent ones we've had in the past few weeks. Just this might be it. The name of the chapter is, I believe, The Final Blow or something along those lines. And it seems as though in the next chapter, the devil will be dead. And if this is the end of the devil chapter, the devil arc, I am looking forward to it. Mostly because I really want to see what's next. I've been a big a large hopeful for the Diamond Kingdom to be the next major antagonist in the story. I know that they've, come up here and there in various parts of different arcs as small antagonists doing, some havoc, trying to get some magic items, whatever. But I really am looking forward to maybe in the next arc or arc after that even the Diamond Kingdom or maybe the Heart Kingdom or whatever else is out there coming up and starting an actual war and seeing that whole thing play out and seeing what happens with the characters and how they interact with the world in a more tense situation outside of the more black and white, the devil is evil, we are more good than that, but in a, fog of war sort of, these people are doing things for their country the same way we're doing things for our country. We're trying to save our people and so on and so forth, and seeing the potential moral ambiguity in which the characters have to sort of deal with, which would be cool and interesting. I think that this writer has shown that he is capable of moral ambiguity, especially within the elves and Patry, and the way that they've sort of, played with, yeah, bad things were done and evil has been present, but it does not mean that evil is the entirety of these characters. There's malice that spawned them, and through that malice, they have decided or been pushed towards certain actions. And that kind of nuance in storytelling, I think, would be wonderful to see in a storyline, including actual international wars. So yeah, that's it for this week's chapter. But before we go, there is one thing I want to talk about. At the very beginning of the chapter, there was a popularity poll that was the results were shown for, and the results are not surprising. I'm gonna go through them real quick and maybe give a quick note on some of these, some of the characters and whether I think they deserve to be there. They do, except the 10th one. The 10th one is Gauche. I don't like him. He's weird. His sister thing is really gross and unpleasant. His power is cool, so, there's that. But ninth is Luck. Luck is great. He's just the coolest. I love his power. I love the fact that he suits up in electric armor or electric boots and claws and goes out to fight like a cat. That's fun. Eighth is Mimosa. She's wonderful as well. She's really cool with her giant solar beam from a sunflower thing. I love that whole style and aesthetic and power archetype. Next is Charmy for number 7th. And her whole hidden power ending up being that she's half dwarf and having a secondary spell type is incredibly cool and paid off better than most. They have a hidden ability, power, secret than most things I've read in a while. 6th is Charlotte, and she definitely deserves her spot. I really like Charlotte. She's incredibly, I don't know how to say, positive, fun, just a fun character who's typically just a whole lot of entertainment, if that makes any sense. Like, obviously this comic is meant to be entertaining, but whenever she's a center of a chapter, part of a major part of a chapter, it's always, full of straight man goofs where everyone's having a really fun time, and I appreciate it greatly. Also, her power, thorns and vines, are cool. I mentioned it with Mimosa. I really like that theme for magic powers, plant and nature based is really cool to me. 5th place, come on. Marileona comes in at 5th, and she's the second Vermilion after Mimosa, and she's possibly the coolest person in the show. She is undoubtedly the most powerful person just walking around doing whatever the hell she wants. I love her to death. 4th is Yuno. He's cool enough. He's Yuno. He's, the Sasuke of the story. He's the rival main character, whatever. Don't love him, but he's fine. Then 3rd is Noelle. She's wonderful as well. Her character arc is possibly one of my favorites in this story. Her whole, finding the ability to control her magical power through self-confidence and appreciation and support. That's wonderful, because it just is. It's a good story arc. And you don't really see that for the tsundere characters. Them actually having a good story arc. I genuinely loathe that character archetype, that character trope, but I like this character a lot, and she definitely deserves to be in the top 10. 2nd is Yami. Also, awesome. Fucking love Yami. His darkness magic is super cool. His swordsman key stuff is just another layer of interesting and makes him a little more unique than the other characters who are more traditional in their magical abilities based in the in the Clover Kingdom, of course. And then number one is Asta. That's not surprising in any way. Asta's cool. I love his demonic themes and his whole shtick. There's a lot of potential for future story arcs in which there's secrets and things revealed about him and about demons and about that whole other world. So that's no complaints there. Personally, I would have put Marileona as number one. She's my absolute favorite. I love her entire super aggressive, I'm gonna eat you fire lion lady thing. A plus, the best. But Asa's a pretty close second. And I just wanted to mention that in this top 10, 5 of them are women, which doesn't seem like a thing that needs to be pointed out, but it actually is super incredible and surprising. In most manga, there are rarely ever that many female main characters who are given such popularity and who reach that top 3 or top 5, top 10, whatever. And a lot of times it's usually a fan service based character, and not in this case. Most of these characters, all of these characters, are flushed out, interesting women who have just other things going for them that makes the fact that they're women not irrelevant, but not the focus the way a character should be, where the focus is on who they are and not what they are or whatever else. And I just think it's really wonderful for feminine representation, basically, is what I'm saying. And yeah, it was a good chapter. It was fun to see the top 10 favorite characters of everyone in the fandom, or a lot of people in the fandom, I suppose. So that's it. I'll be here next week with another one of these, and this will be coming out on Friday, Saturday, and Saturday I'll be putting out a My Hero Academia and a One Piece review as well. So stick around for those if you want them. And maybe next week I'll do another one of those discussion videos that I did last time, but we'll see. I haven't really quite flushed out the thing I've been thinking about lately. Hint: it has more to do with Asta. I like him; he's interesting. But yeah, see you next week. Sorry that I missed last time. Hope you have a great day.